Right guys, we have details regarding the 14-inch iPad in the works and how it could be delayed or cancelled, and so let's delve into it. So in case you weren't aware, Ross Young has been telling us all year round that we should see a 14-inch iPad launch in 2023 that has no mini LED tech, no ProMotion, basically a display similar to the iPad Air, and this made no sense to me because why would Apple give us a larger version of the iPad Air that's even bigger than the Pro? And so yes, I never believed this for a second, and Ross Young now tells us that hey, it's conveniently been delayed or cancelled. Now what's weird is that in this new report, he actually mentions it's a 14-inch iPad Pro that has mini LEDs, so that goes against what he told us in the past. But anyways, yeah, he says Apple has no plans to launch this in 2023 and it could be significantly delayed or cancelled altogether. Now honestly, I'm not too bummed about this because I do not think we need larger iPads. I think the issue with iPads is the software, so resolve that first and then get to bigger iPads, because what's the point of a 14-inch iPad if it's still going to be running the very constrained iPad OS experience that does not have pro apps, that has a pretty terrible stage manager feature that everyone hates. And so yes, I do not understand the point of larger iPads till we get major software changes. Like honestly, the only market that might be interested in a larger iPad is those doing art on the iPads. I can see a larger canvas being useful for their purpose, but really that's the only market this would cater towards. Everyone else would not be interested unless we see more macOS-like features. So yes, Apple, take your time with these larger iPads. I'm not in a rush to buy these, and I'm sure many of you guys are also not in a rush to buy this. And so yes, Apple, focus on the software first, then shift your focus to larger iPads. But now let's delve into your questions. So at user WK2 says, still happy with the 10.5-inch iPad Pro with the A10X, until they release the OLED ones, no need to upgrade to another LCD iPad. So fair enough, I do understand that, and I also still use a 10.5-inch iPad Pro, I'm still very happy with it, no performance issues, it's still very solid, and so I likely am also going to wait till we see OLEDs before I upgrade. So Big Dog says, OLED looks great, but burn-in is still round, and yeah, that's a fair concern. Burn-in has of course been a big problem in the past. However, new OLEDs have fixed this for the most part. Also, Apple has software techniques within iOS that prevents things like burn-in, and to be honest, I've yet to hear anyone experience burn-in with their iPhones, and so I don't think this will be a massive issue for the iPads. And heck, do remember these iPads are going to be using dual stack displays, and so yes, do not worry about burn-in with these iPads. That's going to be a non-issue. So Ramesh regarding iPadOS becoming more like macOS says, I doubt this. Apple's going to keep macOS and iPadOS completely separate. And yes, I know ideally that's what Apple wants, but the iPad's in a pretty awkward situation because it has all this power, but of course, the software's not utilizing it, and so eventually the iPad and the Mac need to overlap each other. So Jay Sparrow regarding alternatives for the iPad 10 says, either iPad Air 4 or 2018 iPad Pro refurbished, and yes, I agree with this. Both of those are much better iPads. They have panels that are laminated, they have better accessories with the 2nd gen pencil and of course Magic Keyboard support, and with the iPad Pro you also get 120Hz and quad speakers. And Steve Stonewood simply says, Lamau iPad 10 is trash. And yeah, I've got to agree with that. I hate the iPad 10, no one should be buying that. So Jay White says, to be honest, I don't see a point upgrading to the 10th gen iPads when I've already got the 9th generation iPads. And yes, I agree, for those who have iPad 9s, you should not be upgrading to the new base iPads. It's just not worth it, especially for the whole dongle situation, but also the fact the iPad 9's aged incredibly well and it's still an iPad I highly recommend. So Jay Edwards says, hopefully the iPad 11 addresses some of the biggest issues with the 10th gen iPads, mainly the price. If they had priced the 10 at $359 or even $399, it would have been a success, and yes, I agree with that. If it had a lower price, I could forgive the shortcomings, and I do think there is a good chance we see low prices with future budget iPads. Because Apple knows the $329 price is the key component to the budget iPad success, and so much like Apple needs a $1,000 MacBook in the range, I'm sure future base iPads are eventually going to come down in price and fill that $329 spot. And yeah, the iPad 10 in many ways is similar to the Retina MacBook Air because Initially, that was way too expensive for a MacBook Air, but of course, with each generation it came down in price. Eventually, we got to the M1 models at $1,000, giving us amazing value for the price, and so there is a good chance that happens with future base iPads. So Salman says, Saran, do you think there won't be 11-inch models in the future? Base starts at 12.9 inches and goes from 14 inches to 16 inches. I hope that doesn't happen. I love the 11-inch. Now, I'm also with you. I do prefer the 11-inch size, and if Apple was to get rid of it, I'm sure the replacement would be a smaller 12-inch iPad. And yeah, that's what a reply to this comment says, and I think 12 inches would be a happy medium between the 11-inch and 12.9-inch size. And hey, if Apple does radically reduce the bezels, then this actually won't be that much bigger than the 11-inch. It should be a similar size, while giving us a much bigger display. And yes, I know in the past I have said bezels on the iPads do serve a purpose, and so they should remain the same thickness, but because Apple has so many 11-inch iPads in the lineup, I think differentiating the smaller iPad Pro with thinner bezels and a larger display would make sense. So Alex H says, Drew from Talos of Tech had a good theory that Apple's waiting for the Mac transition to be fully over as we got the redesign and the new Apple Silicon chips, and then after the Mac Pro is updated, Apple will start to give the iPad more love, not only hardware-wise, but possibly software-wise too. It should be the biggest set of upgrades since the 2018 iPad Pros. Now I'm hoping Drew's right about that, because it does seem like the iPad's in a pretty awkward stage right now where, of course, it's getting all this high-end hardware like the M2 chip, but the software's not fully utilizing it. And so yes, maybe once the transition's fully complete and we're done with the Mac Pro refresh, then we see Apple give the iPad some attention. So Sharif says, I think mini LED is fine, I just want them to increase the resolution, and I'm completely the opposite. I'm fine with the resolution as is, I just want OLEDs. And to be honest, I'm surprised you want a higher resolution panel, because I think the resolution we have now is more than fine for most, and anything higher could of course obliterate the battery life. Since imagine if we got 8K panels on these iPads, that would be a very power hungry component. And so yes, I couldn't care less about a higher resolution. Anyways, that's about it guys, but tell me your thoughts regarding this in the comments. Anyways, thank you for watching guys, make sure to like and subscribe for the latest Apple news and rumours. Check out the video above on details regarding new HomePods, and on that note, see ya peeps.